I do know who you are. Oh my, I think I remember that. As part of her job, she was on a royal visit. There are hundreds of eyes watching her every move, with cameras rolling and protectors in place. Then Princess Catherine did something that made everyone stop. She didn't stick to the plan. She didn't follow the royal rules. Through the crowd, past the guards, past the handlers, and past every unwritten rule in the royal script, she went. And she wrapped her arms around an old man that no one in the crowd knew. Security tightened up. The staff froze. It was dead quiet in the crowd. Then everyone who was watching started crying. Who was this guy? Why did the woman who will become Queen of England break every royal rule she had been taught to follow just to hug him? What did she say to him that caught the attention of people all over the world? Please stay with me until the end of this movie. You will feel something deep in your chest. I promise you that this story about Princess Catherine is different from everything else you've heard about her. The royal family is back. This is the Royal Catherine News. Today, we are going to talk about one of the most talked about and touching events in recent royal history. Welcome if you're new here. You chose the best video to begin with. Right now, click the subscribe button because we cover the important news about Catherine, not the rumors or drama, but the everyday things that make us remember why we fell in love with her in the first place. And this is one of those shots that sets the scene. Set the scene because this is all about the background. William and Kate are in Cornwall for an official royal visit. Cornwall is one of the most historically rich and stunningly beautiful areas in England. Today, they are going to the National Maritime Museum, a world-class facility that protects Britain's maritime past, its naval heroes, and the communities that have lived and breathed the ocean for hundreds of years. You know how these things work if you have ever seen a royal visit. There are plans for every single minute of every single day. A plan has been made. There's a way. There are rules about how long you should stay at each show, who you should shake hands with, and what you should and shouldn't say. The advisors, media staff, and security staff who plan these visits work for weeks to make sure everything is ready. Royals never stray. They don't get lost. In the middle of a crowd, they don't make choices on the spot. Catherine knows this more than almost anyone else. She has done this for more than 10 years. She will soon be the queen spouse of the world's most famous royal family. Catherine isn't the only one who shows grace under pressure. It's something she's good at. The museum was packed with people today. There were a lot of people there, including volunteers, staff, and important people from the area, all wanting to see the Prince and Princess of Wales. The mood was electric, but it was under control. There were cameras everywhere, and Catherine, as beautiful as ever, was walking through the museum, talking to workers, looking at the exhibits, and just being herself. After that, she stopped. A nice pause, like the kind she takes when she wants to say hello quickly. There was a full stop here. It was such a sudden and strong moment of understanding that her whole body language changed. She always kept her cool, and her eyes lit up, not even a nice smile or nod. She changed her face. Catherine didn't think about it, ask anyone, check the schedule, or even look at her security team before she walked straight up to an older man who was standing quietly among the volunteers and gave him a hug. Not a proper air kiss on both cheeks or a proper handshake with a warm squeeze. She gave him a kiss on the cheek and a hug that warmed his whole heart. The people around them stopped talking. The security staff looked at each other. The people who had practiced every part of this visit looked at each other in shock because this wasn't what they had planned. The question gets stronger. Now, wait a second, because I want you to think about this before I tell you who this man is. How many people from your past do you really remember? Not the people you kept in touch with, not your close family or friends, but the people who were there for you during a crucial time in your life, who came to your life every day, gave you something useful, and then left you alone as you moved on. Remember when you were a kid. Think about the classrooms you sat in and the halls you walked through. Remember how the adults patiently tried to give you something that would last longer than the lesson every day. Do you think they knew how well it stuck? Due to the fact that this moment is truly unique. This get-together wasn't planned. This wasn't a chance for PR. There was no email ahead of time letting us know that someone important would be helping that day. This was natural, organic, and true. And Catherine's every public appearance is planned, filmed, and studied. So having an emotional outburst on the spot is one of the greatest things in the world for her. So who could have caused it? Someone made the future Queen of England forget all the rules she had been taught for a moment. Who is this person? That's it. His name is Jim Embry. He wasn't a duke, a diplomat, a singer, or a leader. Jim Embry used to be a teacher. In fact, he wasn't a VIP guest when Catherine went to the National Maritime Museum that day. He was there as a worker, just a regular guy giving his time to a museum he believed in. But Catherine doesn't think Jim Embry is like other people, because Jim Embry taught Princess Catherine history at St. Andrew's School in Pangbourne, Berkshire, more than 25 years ago, when Kate Middleton was just starting to learn about the world. Take a moment to think about that. It's likely that Catherine was in her school uniform and sitting in a classroom with her books open and pen ready to listen to this guy tell stories from the past. She had no idea that one day she would be famous. She had no idea that one day cameras would be everywhere and watch her every move. He was just her teacher, and she was just a student. They shared a classroom and a learning season that left a mark that time didn't erase. It's been 25 years. Kate became an adult. She went to college. She met a king. She was made a princess. She had a child. She became one of the world's most shot women. She dealt with being told she had cancer with more grace and bravery than most of us could imagine. She came out as the Princess of Wales. Jim Embry, on the other hand, quit. He worked as a helper at a museum he liked. He lived a quiet life. And when William and Catherine came to Cornwall, Jim Embry was just another volunteer in the crowd. He had no idea that the woman he used to teach history to would know him, let alone remember his name. Could you picture how that felt? As you wear your volunteer lanyard and watch the Princess of Wales walk to the hall, you suddenly become aware that she is walking straight toward you, what she said. But this is where the story goes from being sweet to being truly amazing. Kate didn't just hug him and leave him alone. She didn't give him a quick squeeze and say, "It's great to see you." She went on with her plans. She wrapped her arms around him. She looked at him. She stayed where she was. Then she said something that revealed more about Princess Catherine than almost anything else we have heard her say. You should read that again. "The things you taught me, I now teach to my children. I now teach my children the things you taught me." Think about what that means. Jim Embry stood in front of a classroom. A little girl named Kate Middleton learned history from him. After many years, she still remembers the lessons he taught her, how much he loved history, and how he believed that knowing our roots helps us understand who we are. These lessons are being taught again to Prince Louis, Princess Charlotte, and Prince George. Catherine wasn't the only thing Jim Embry taught. He is teaching the next King of England through Catherine. And he didn't know, due to the fact that this is something we rarely notice about great teachers. They don't just teach you things to study for tests. They change the way you see the world. A glass is given to you. And sometimes, if they're really special, you'll remember that lens for the rest of your life. You read it as a grown-up. When you give it to your own kids, you'll never forget who gave it to you. For Catherine, Jim Embry is the right guy. She made sure he knew it in a busy museum in Cornwall, where cameras were rolling and time was running out. Take a moment to think about this before we go on. Did you ever have a teacher who taught you something like that? Just write their name below. If Catherine can do it in front of the whole world, we can do it here too. Let's honor some great teachers today. What Jim Embry did. Let's talk about what happened next, because Jim Embry's reaction is just as touching as Catherine's hug. After the visit, the news found him again. There was already a lot of video and pictures on the internet. Journalists asked Jim Embry, "Who is this man? What does he think? How does it feel to be embraced by the Princess of Wales in front of the world?" His answer, which was very quiet, told you everything you need to know about the man. Kate had not changed at all, he said. That she's still lovely and nice as she was 25 years ago. There was no fuss or exaggeration, just a quiet, honest comment from a man who knew her before she was crowned, before the cameras, and before everyone decided she was someone to watch. Even in the woman he hugged that day, he could still see the little girl. In light of everything Catherine has been through, think about what that means. The attention, the tabloid pressure, living a life almost entirely in public for years. health problems, grief, and having put on a show all the time because they are one of the most watched people in the world. According to a man who knew her before any of it started, she stayed the same through it all. That's not a little thing. That's really cool. That's character. After taking away the titles, tiaras, and state events, that's who Catherine of Wales really is. She is a woman who goes up to a crowd of people and hugs her old teachers. She is a woman who thinks about the people who helped shape her. Someone who knew her as a child said that she hasn't changed at all. What caused this moment to go viral? Let's talk about the moment and culture this made. Because it wasn't just a sweet story about a person. This spread all over the world. Within hours, news outlets from London to Los Angeles were talking about it. There were a lot of responses on social media. There were a lot of comments that said, "This is why I love her and she's so real." There were also a lot of comments that said, "I'm not crying. You're crying. But why?" What was it about this moment that got everyone's attention so much? It seems to come down to something very basic but strong. People are very interested in their status, their place in the hierarchy, and how well they do important tasks. And that's clearest in the world of royal protocol, which is a set of rules and traditions that have been kept alive for hundreds of years to show power, order, and respect. Royals always follow the rules. They don't change their plans. They don't run across the room to give a volunteer a hug just because they saw a familiar face. It wasn't Catherine, though, and by doing that, she said something that could never be said as clearly in a press release, a carefully crafted speech, or a state occasion. She made it clear that people are more important than rules. In other words, remembering where you came from is more important than keeping up performance of where you are now. This was taught to her by the man who taught